Tonight, inside new plans for Lismore's flood recovery, the damage bill to top $3 billion. A call for change and unity. The Liberal Party regroups its eyes on the looming state election. Australian music icon and much-loved Seekers singer Judith Durham dies. Our swimming heroes back on home soil as the final Commonwealth Games events go down to the wire. And the Rabbitohs send a reminder to their NRL rivals as they fight for a place in the finals.
This is NBN News.
Good evening. The New South Wales Liberals have been bruised by scandal after scandal. And today the Premier called for unity ahead of next year's election. Dominic Perrottet rallied the faithful at the party's most high-profile gathering since the Morrison government was dumped in May.
Under a cloud, a party looking for a silver lining.
Tonight we can show you the man who allegedly murdered 3 family members on a cattle station in North Queensland. The wife and young children of one of the victims today flew to Mackay to be with family and the lone shooting survivor.
Daryl Blinky Young, a man well known to police and now infamous across the nation as an accused triple murderer.
Hearing that they had them in, it was just sheer relief.
Detectives allege the 50... Jordan Fabris, NBN News.
She was the most unlikely of pop stars, and yet while fronting the Seekers, Judith Durham took the world by storm, while always remaining staunchly Australian. Tonight, sad news that after a long battle with ill health, she has died at the age of 79.
She was the voice behind that unmistakable sound of the Seekers.
Hey there, Georgie girl. A petition as well as 186 origami houses have been hand-delivered to the state member for Lismore's office. Social Futures, a group which runs homelessness support programs, is calling for more than 18,000 new affordable homes to be built in the area to combat the housing crisis.
Social Futures has been getting the support of the community via petition. We've had almost 400 signatures in one day showing the community's support for additional housing in the
The Department of Planning and Environment has told the NBN News the state recognises the need for more social housing in the Northern Rivers and that it will invest $158 million locally. Thousands of big rig enthusiasts have rolled into Casino's CBD for the return of the town's annual truck show. Full to the brim with noise, entertainment and plenty of wow factor, the show was one of the best events of its kind in Australia.
Big rigs rolling in, pulling up and showing off what... Gracie Richter, NBN News.
An Australian first cancer research hub has officially opened at Griffith University. Inside the International Centre for Cancer Glycomics, scientists will work on discovering how cells in the body change in cancer sufferers.
In the next 2 years, we'll have much more information about new markers that are related to the sugar coat from cancerous cells.
It's believed they're finding pooches of all shapes and sizes have been transformed from scruffy to fluffy on day 1 of the Pup Cup in Coffs Harbour.
Meet the creative people and pour some pooches from the world of competitive dog grooming.
Now for the North Coast, partly cloudy today, a top of 21 degrees for Byron. You're watching NBN News. Still ahead, a blaze rips through a strip of Sydney shops with 6 people upstairs. And the health warning for splendour in the grass revellers. China has urged Australia to show understanding and respect after Foreign Minister Penny Wong condemned its escalating military exercises over Taiwan. Beijing claims it was provoked when US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made an official visit to Taipei, and today it issued further retaliation.
Army boots on the ground and jet fighters in the air. China wants these military drills to send a message. Fiona Willan, NBN News.
The Prime Minister has confirmed the proposed Indigenous voice to Parliament would not include reparation payments for First Nations people if Australians support it in a referendum.
That's not something that's part of the proposal. We have had native title has worked effectively.
Anthony Albanese says he's started consulting with major sporting bodies, including the NRL, AFL and Netball Australia. 6 people have been rescued from a shop awning in Sydney's inner west as several businesses went up in flames this morning. The fire spreading from building to building.
Attacking this Croydon shopping strip from all angles. James Wilson, NBN News.
There's an urgent health warning tonight for those who attended the 3-day Splendour in the Grass Festival in Byron Bay. A festival goer
following the festival held in the North Byron Parklands between July 21 and 24. And with a second attendee now identified as positive, New South Wales Health has issued an emergency alert. Anyone who attended the event is asked to monitor closely for symptoms. Up to 1 in 10 cases of meningococcal result in death in Australia. And it can be fatal within hours as the contagious infection poisons the bloodstream. It can easily be transmitted in crowds, and given the close proximity of those at the festival, there's a heightened concern there's more cases. Symptoms of the disease can appear suddenly. Common signs include headache, fever and a rash. The rash has distinct reddish purple spots and the colour doesn't go away when you press on them. Other symptoms are cold hands and feet, severe limb pain, lethargy, stiff neck and sensitivity to bright lights. So the advice right now, if you're unwell, head straight to your doctor or the hospital.
There's been a concerning spike in fraudulent "Hey Mum" text scams where perpetrators impersonate children, fleecing their parents of thousands of dollars. The scam involves the offender sending a text from an unknown number stating they've lost their phone and need to borrow money. In the last few months, police say there's been a significant increase in victims reporting the scam across Australia, with losses surpassing $2 million. Coming up next, the government's message for the big 4 banks on savings accounts. And actress Anne Hesh injured in a fiery car crash. Anne Hesh, the Emmy-nominated actor known for Gracie's Choice and Vanished, is in a critical condition after crashing her car into a home in Los Angeles, causing it to catch fire. It took 59 firefighters over an hour to extinguish the blaze. A Los Angeles judge has ruled Kevin Spacey and his production company must pay the makers of House of Cards almost $44 million due to losses brought about by his 2017 firing over alleged sexual harassment. The judgment follows a 3-year legal battle and an 8-day hearing kept secret from the public. 4 months of rising interest rates may be hurting many household budgets, but there are some who should be benefiting. A newly appointed government minister has a message for the big banks tonight, as rates on savings accounts lag behind rate rises on variable home loans.
It's been a gloomy week outside in the nation's capital. Forecasts inside Parliament, not much better.
Australians know that we are...
A volunteer firefighter racing to tackle a blaze in the US state of Pennsylvania arrived to discover it was his house and 10 members of his family had died. The victims included his son, daughter, father-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, 3 grandchildren and 2 other relatives. A criminal investigation is now underway. Alarming new data predicts prostate cancer rates in Australia will increase by 43% over the next 20 years. The figures from MNC actuaries show 630,000 men face twice the average risk because of a family history of the disease. More than 24,000 Australians are expected to be diagnosed this year alone. At least 10 people have died in Israeli airstrikes on Gaza City, including a senior member of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and a 5-year-old girl. The militant group responded by firing more than 100 rockets towards Israeli cities, with no reports of casualties. The strike comes after days of tensions following the arrest of a senior militant in the occupied West Bank on Monday. A change of pace now, and it's time for sport with Kate Haberfield. And the Rabbitohs sent a big message today, Kate.
They did. They're coming right at the right end of the season. Thanks, Jane. We'll have a full match report after the break as the ruthless Rabbits run right to score their biggest win of the year. Also coming up, Jake Arthur silences his critics and keeps the Eels in the hunt for the top 4. They made a slow start to the season, but the Rabbitohs are now well and truly running free. This afternoon, they thrashed the Warriors 48-10, their biggest win of the year, reminding the rest of the competition just how dangerous they'll be come crunch time.
It's enough reason to make their rivals nervous. Sam Jordan, NBN News.
Life without Nathan Cleary and Jerome Luai doesn't appear to be going too badly for the Panthers. Stephen Crichton scored in his return from plastic surgery to help Penrith lead the Raiders by 8 points at half-time. James Fisher-Harris could be in some strife, though, for this high shot. The prop was sin-binned and put on report. The Sharks and Dragons face off in a local derby tonight in Saturday night footy. Danica Mason and Andrew Johns have the late mail.
Well, Saturday night footy returns tonight. Andrew Johns alongside me. This is a great one, a great rivalry between the Dragons and the Sharks. It's always quite emotional. The fans love getting behind their
so help out Nico Hines there, but Matt Moylan this year has been an absolute fire. Can't wait for this one. These two clubs don't like each other. That's the way rugby league should be. And the rivalry, they haven't played at Shark Park for about 2 or 3 years. So old boys' day, full house. This is going to be good.
An important one for the Dragons and their hopes of playing finals footy. How do you see it playing out tonight?
Well, I thought the Dragons last week could have beat the Cowboys, but they were poor. Cowboys blew them away late. I think it'll be very similar. I think they'll be in the fight for about 50, 60 minutes, but then I think the Sharks will come over the top of them and win well.
All right, looking forward to this one. All the action at Live on 9 from 7 p.m.
A fortnight after he was booed by his club's own fans, Jake Arthur did all he could to silence them. The Eels halfback produced some clutch plays to keep Parramatta's top 4 hopes alive and all but end Manly's season.
A handshake and a hug with Mitch Moses, followed by a pat on the back from Brad Fittler. Jake Arthur savouring this moment. That must have been special. Yeah. Zach Bailey, NBN News.
Wallabies captain Michael Hooper has withdrawn from Australia's tour of Argentina, saying he's not in the right headspace to play Test rugby.
You know, often men will say bugger all and suffer in silence, and so, you know, as I said before, it took a lot of courage for him to address the group. So a huge amount of respect.
The Wallabies face the Pumas tomorrow morning in their first match of the Rugby Championship. The Giants have snapped a 4-game losing streak, storming home to beat Essendon by 27 points. After falling behind early in the third quarter, the break, Nick Kyrgios advances after a drama-filled quarter-final in Washington. And could McLaren trade in Daniel Ricciardo for another Aussie? There was plenty of drama in the ATP quarter-final in Washington. Nick Kyrgios lost his cool at a spectator who was heckling him while serving. His opponent, Francis Tiafoe, also unleashed on the umpire after losing an epic second-set tiebreak. Kyrgios was able to regain composure first and defeated the American in 3. The Premier League has kicked off early this year to accommodate the World Cup in November, and it was a good start for Gunners fans. Arsenal defeating Crystal Palace 2-0 in the season opener as they look to make the top 4 for the first time in 7 years. One Australian's axing is set to be another Aussie's big chance to make his mark in Formula One. There are reports McLaren has told Daniel Ricciardo he'll be dropped from the team's lineup next season in favour of 21-year-old countryman Oscar Piastri. While that would leave Ricciardo without an F1 drive, he could link up with Alpine, who were originally hoping Piastri would take their spare seat. The Northern Rivers Barbarians are holding their own at the International Tag Series in Coffs Harbour. One of just 4 teams in the men's 60 division, they piled on some early tries against Greece this morning. But unfortunately just couldn't get the win. Overall, the Australian sides have been the benchmark across all divisions, with finals kicking off tomorrow. To Group 2 Rugby League, and 4 of 5 semi-finalists will have one last chance to make their mark on the competition when they play their Round 5 washout games tomorrow. With just 2 points separating first and fourth, the minor premiership is still very much up for grabs.
The game to decide this season's minor premiers will be one of Group 2's most heart-stopping.
So good to go back home, I bet.
And good to see some sunshine today for them. Thank you, Kate. Stay with us. We'll check all your local weather details for the North Coast after the break. Not a bad start to the weekend, partly cloudy and quite mild, but first a superb shot from Dave Gosling at Terrigal on the Central Coast. Stunning colours in a stormy sky at sunrise. Dave said he saw this coming and jumped out of bed. He was certainly rewarded. Let's head up to the satellite. A cloud band over eastern Queensland with a trough is bringing showers and a few storms. Cloud over southern New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania and South Australia with other troughs is causing gusty showers and alpine snow. On the ease tomorrow in New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania and South Australia, but it will remain cold and cloudy in the south. Winds will turn southerly for eastern New South Wales. Partly cloudy with showers further north. Quite warm today, 23 degrees for Yamba, 24 at Grafton, 13 to 23 for Ballina and 24 for Tweed Heads. Tomorrow, sunny with light winds becoming moderate west-southwesterlies in the early afternoon. Nice and sunny for Byron Bay tomorrow with a top of 19, 9 to 20 for Ballina, 20 for Yamba tomorrow and 5 to 22 for Grafton. Coastal waters information for tomorrow sees at 1.5 metres with a 1 metre swell for the Byron coast, southwesterlies up to 30 knots. The sun to rise at 6:26 and set at 5:20. And the outlook for Tweed Heads, a fine week ahead. Monday sunny, Tuesday partly cloudy, a top of 20 degrees from Monday through until Thursday. For Lismore, high teens from Monday until Thursday. Drizzle patches later in the week, but expecting 20 degrees tomorrow, 18 degrees on Tuesday. And finally for Grafton, low 20s this week, hitting 22 degrees tomorrow, 4 to 21 on Monday. A top of 20 and partly cloudy on Tuesday, 5 to 21 on Wednesday. Some possible showers later in the week with 2 to 10 millimetres forecast for Saturday. And that is NBN News for this Saturday. Thanks for your company. From all the news team here, good night.